Veracity Networks is a CLEC in the state of Utah. We have fiber optics that are built throughout the city of Provo, where we have about 5,000 residential subscribers that get voice, video, and data from us. We also provide services to about 3,700 businesses throughout the state of Utah, where we do VPLS, MPLS, voice over IP, pretty standard stuff. Our market position is that we're a leader in providing triple play services to residents and voice and data services to commercial customers. Typically, we like to connect to our customers via fiber, but what we have found is that it's extremely expensive to build out to customers. So what we've done is we've actually started putting some point-to-point wireless links into the network, and then we've also provided services to a large number of multi-dwelling units, or MDUs. And a lot of these MDUs were built in the 60s and 70s, and they have very little to no telecommunications infrastructure inside of the complex itself. And it's very cost prohibitive to go back to these MDUs and retrofit them with Cat5 cabling or to run fiber throughout the complex. So we've actually started deploying the wireless throughout the complex as a way to attach the users to the backbone and then to actually back all the traffic to our NOC in Provo. We needed a solution that was going to scale. A lot of these MDUs have well over 300 apartments, and that usually ends up meaning about 1,800 wireless end-user devices, cell phones, laptops, stuff like that. So the solution had to scale. The second thing that we needed is something that was extremely stable, because operationally we need to be able to keep our call center volumes lower. We need to be able to get people hooked up with relatively minor amount of technical support involvement. And we also needed the ability to be able to troubleshoot when problems did arise. Really what we were looking for with Ruckus was the ability to provide a solution that would fit within a certain cost model. A lot of these MDUs don't have any ability to come up with a large CapEx investment so that they can actually install any kind of broadband service inside the complex. And what we had found with Ruckus is that we were able to purchase a solution that would allow us to become profitable in the first month of installing services, which is huge. I mean, usually when you're talking a wired line solution, you're talking 6, 8, 10-month ROI. We had brought in Cisco, Motorola, Mirakai, and then Ruckus. And as we brought in all the different engineering teams, the only one that really seemed to be different, they really had something that was different and unique, was Ruckus. It was mostly about how their antennas work and their ability to change the coverage patterns dynamically to try to reduce the amount of interference that a user might have when they're trying to connect to the network. And that was really important to us because when we deploy these MDUs, we're going to have a very high density of devices all connecting to the network at the same time. And so you have this tendency to have some self-interference. In the complex that we deployed with the Ruckus gear, there was 350 apartments, but there was closer to 1,800 active devices at any given time. So we had everything from iPhones to Xboxes to computers that are all connecting. And if you can't handle a high saturation level of the airtime utilization inside the complex, then it's just going to kind of collapse as more and more users come on the system. So Ruckus seemed to have an answer for that when a lot of the other vendors really didn't. The installation went really, really well. We were able to deploy the product within probably 2 weeks, which when you compare it to any other solution, if we would have done ADSL2 Plus or fiber or any of those others, would have been at 90 to 180 days to try to get the install in and get all the customers converted. Whereas with Ruckus's Wi-Fi solution, we were able to order equipment and have it installed within about a 2-week time frame. When we deployed Cambria, it's completely wireless complex. So what's a little bit unique about that is that we brought in fiber to the clubhouse and then brought some aggregation access points up on the roof. And then from those aggregation access points, we would actually use a full wireless mesh through the entire complex. We ended up putting in about 32 7762 access points. And the reason we decided to go with those is because they were dual spectrum. So we could use the 5 gigahertz band for backhaul and use the 2.4 gigahertz band for customer access. And that's really good because if you try to use customer access and backhaul on the same frequency, they end up clobbering each other. And then we also are in Utah, so we get a ton of snow, and it was one of the few radios that we saw that actually had a built-in heater, which is way critical because if you get snow and ice on top of those radios, it'll change the performance rather dramatically. So the radio being climatized and basically the way that the radio is constructed allows it to be in our environment and perform very well even in the winter. So management of the network is really a piece of cake. If you look at the zone director on the dashboard, you can see every single user that's connected to the network and what their approximate signal strength is. And then if they call in and they're having a performance issue or they don't believe that they're getting the speeds that they thought that they'd get, they have an easy way of installing a piece of software on their PC, and you can actually run a speed test directly to the end user. This is really good because it helps you rule out a lot of user error. A lot of times a user's perception that something may or may not be working can be related more to their PC than the network. And in wireless, you need every tool that you can get to kind of prove to the end user that everything truly is okay. When we finished installing Cambria, I had kind of a meeting with my CEO, and we decided to kind of do a recap of what we did at the complex. And we came to a few conclusions. The first was that we needed to work with a provider that had a good, solid technology, which we found in Ruckus. With the technology provider also had to have a good, deep technical support, the ability to support their product long-term and also be able to support their product if an issue arose. And lastly, our technology partner really had to understand what our requirements are and what we were trying to accomplish. And we really felt like we had that with Ruckus.